Welcome back to our new video tutorial series. In this video, I'll be exploring dimension setting. And there are 5 parts of a dimension setting that must be set for you to properly and effectively dimension any figure. The first part is offset from origin, extend beyond dimension lines, arrow size, text height, and precision. You will realize that there are a lot more settings there, but these are the 5 most important ones. Once you have these set, you're good to go. All right. I'll be showing you our next drawing, which represents some of these settings. Now, just in case you forget which is which. So the dimension is this one here. This is the dimension. This is extend beyond dimension line, or extension line, sorry. Dimension line is this one here. And typically, dimension line either has 2 arrows at both ends or forward tick at both ends. Offset from origin. This is the space between the drawing and the extension line. And we will explore those in a little bit, what those values should be. So for plane and solid geometry, we typically use between 2 to 3 up to 4 in some cases. Could use 5 as well, depending on the size of the drawing. For building drawing, we typically use a offset from origin, minimum 300. Dimension for building drawing, we typically use 150, typically, which is run about the same size of the wall. Extend beyond dimension line, extension line, and extend beyond dimension line. That is how far the drawing how far the extension line goes beyond the dimension line. So this section here is extend beyond dimension line. Unfortunately, this diagram doesn't contain that. Let's go to a table which gives you a breakdown of what is what, some of the settings that you should use. Sorry. Okay. Here is a table of some recommended values that you should use for this. All right. Recommended value. Extend beyond dimension line. 2. This is mainly for plane and solid geometry and mechanical drawing. So 2 for extend beyond dimension line. 4 for offset from origin. The arrow size can be between 4 to 6, and we typically use a closed fill arrow. Text height. This varies from around about 5 up to 8. In some cases where the drawing is large, we could use up to 10. Offset from dimension line. This is basically how much the drawing rises above the dimension line. If this is set to 0, the value will sit exactly onto the dimension line. Of course, this is not really critical, so I didn't add this among the top 5. Precision. We must set our precision to 0. If we don't set our precision to 0, what you'll find is that AutoCAD will give you some 0.000 if this is not set. It will give you some decimal places, which we really don't want, right? So these are the 5 basic settings that you must set. Center mark is not very critical, because this is really applicable in cases where you're drawing a circle. And in that case, you would or should establish a center line, really. Now let's move on to building drawing. For building drawing, the recommended setting extend beyond dimension lines should be approximately 100 millimeters. Sorry. For offset from origin, this should be about 300 millimeters. Our size can be between 120 to about 150 millimeters. And we normally use architectural tick or forward slashes. Text height, 150 is typically good, which would basically be the same size as the wall. Offset from dimension line, 25, 20 is good. And of course, our precision should be 20, should be 0 with no decimal places. Now, let us get into the practical part of this, where we actually set this up. All right. So let us switch over to AutoCAD. Now, we're here in AutoCAD. And to activate drawing setting, it is simple. We type D, enter. D, enter. They should bring it up. Now, from here, you can choose if you want to modify or create a new one. I would say create your own. So I'll click new. For this one, here you will need to determine if you want this to be for building drawing or for mechanical drawing and or plane and solid geometry. Remember now that for building drawing, the units are different, the values are different. For plane and solid geometry, the numbers are relatively small. So let us set this up for building drawing. So if it's a building drawing, I'm going to label this one building, building. And continue. So the first one, underline. If you forget these values, I would recommend that you go back to the table and follow and do those. These are preset. Probably I should choose a new drawing which has the default settings, yeah? So let me click a new, let me close these off and click a new one which has the default values. All right, new. Right. So D for dimension setting, D or dim style works. Enter. Here, this is AutoCAD architecture. So it will give you a lot of options. I typically use standard. So I click on standard, new, name this building, UILDING, then go across, continue. And of course, it will take you to this. Remember, you will see a whole lot of settings, but we are going to be disciplined and stick to only those that relate to what we actually want. So underline, we're going to change only extend beyond dimension line. And assume this is building drawing. So the table recommend that we use 100, 100. Offset from origin, 300, 300. And this is basically good for this part. We are not going to touch anything here, all right? We're not going to change any color, nothing there. Next step is to go across the symbols and arrows. And here, this is architectural drawing, so we want forward tick, all right? So I'm going to click on the closed field, architectural tick. We also going to change our arrow size. In this case, this can be between 120 to 150. Let's go for 150. And Basically all of which we need to change here. All right. Now let's go across to our text. Sorry. And for this, we're going to change our text height to 150. If you want 100, totally up to you. From here, we can determine if we want our text to be aligned with the dimension line or we want our text to be horizontal. In my case, I like when my text or dimensions are horizontal. I think it's easier to to see. No, I don't want the dimension or the unit to be sitting on the line. So I'm going to add 5 here. Lift the unit off the line a little bit. Excuse me. Then click. Oh, cancel it. No, I need to. Oh, I need to modify. Whoops. I closed this too early. All right. I need to go to alternate to primary unit and set my precision. Notice what's happening here. We have a lot of points right there. We don't want those. So we go to that. And now everything is nice and clean. It's important to know that you can go back and make changes. To see the changes immediately, you simply press the tab key. Say, for example, I wish to change my arrow size to a much smaller one. Let's say 120. 120. Once I press the tab key, change is made immediately. So we don't need to close the dialog box to see the change. It takes effect immediately. Then we click OK. Once you have done that, you must set this current, to be able to see the effects. Okay. All right. Then close. Now that is set up. And that is all there is to setting up dimension. Remember the 5 things that you need to set up for dimension: extend your dimension line, offset from origin, arrow size, text height, and precision. Everything else is really fluff. Those are the basics. And remember that I use standard dimensioning, not annotative. All right? I try to keep away from annotative. My students tend to fall into trouble when they use annotative. And I think this is simple. Right? Again, if you like, subscribe, drop me a comment, right? And look out for more videos.